Peace and blessings, beautiful people. I hope that you're doing well today. I want to share some information with you that was, brought to me, my attention this morning when I woke up. And it may be information that you already have. And you may say to yourself, I got that information 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I'm glad that you did. But every time we get information, when we acquire knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, we need to share it because there's somebody out there that didn't get the message. And even for me, although I knew this information intellectually, I didn't get the message in my heart and in my spirit until this morning. I'm not going to preach to you. Anyone who knows me knows I don't do that. I'm not trying to preach to you. I'm just telling you, my stream of consciousness. So I woke up this morning with this in my head. A lot of you know that I write poetry. I've been writing poetry since I was 12. And I used to go to spoken words and things like that. I don't do that anymore, but I've been writing poetry and short stories since I was 12 years old. And oftentimes people would ask me to write a poem for their birthday, for a wedding. I've written poems for funerals, and I had to work on it and put it together, right? But sometimes, the majority of the time, a whole poem would come to me in my head when I wake up in the morning. And that's where I would get my poetry. The whole thing would be in my head and I would write it down. And that's what I did. That's what I did today. You have to excuse me. I was reluctant to do a live today because I've been coughing, so excuse me. So this morning I woke up with a stream of consciousness in my head and I said, I want to share this, and I posted it to Facebook. But some people like to read messages and some people want to hear it. So I want to tell you what I woke up with this morning about when people throw you under the bus. Okay. It will happen to everybody. Someone will one day, if they haven't already, will throw you under the bus. And what I'm telling you is what was revealed to me this morning when I woke up about my life. And I thought this might be useful information for you too. Sometimes people will look at you and they will look shocked and they will look surprised and even bent out of shape, uncomfortable and indignant, right? That is because they're looking at you wondering why you're still here. Why are you driving the bus that they threw you under? That's what they're thinking. They're looking at you thinking, how is it that you're driving the bus that I threw you under? Think about that, okay? They are downright angry, inconsolable, and confused. Who are you? What nerve? You have the nerve to be driving the bus that I threw you under. That is called resilience. When something crashes down on you, when your life crashes down on you and you restore your life and you come back, it's called having resilience. And people don't like that. People who love you love it. But the people who envy you or the people who don't mean you good, they don't like that. They don't want to see that. And so they're angry that you're driving the bus that they threw you under. Okay. That's because they underestimated you, right? They never valued your self-worth, right? They devalued you. They gave you a low ball appraisal of yourself based on some of the bruises and cracks and things they may have seen and chips in your armor or things you share with them about some of the bumps and bruises that you had in life. And so now they're going to give you a low appraisal, right? And they're going to try to make you think low of yourself. This is called demeaning. Okay. They would try to give you the very least of themselves, right? The least of what they have to offer, while at the same time, they would try to convince you that you're getting the very best. They would do this, right? Even worse yet, they would serve you a hot steaming dish of and say, you should thank me for this. That's what they'll do, right? And then they'll start bringing less and less of the hot steaming, right? And so now you're starving mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. You're starving. And so you say, serve me up another dish of that. This is called gaslighting and manipulation. To add insult to injury, while you are looking the other way, working, taking care of children, taking care of parents, taking care of yourself, taking care of them, maybe taking care of their parents and their children, while you're looking the other way, they will throw you smack dab under the bus. Yeah, I said smack dab because I'm from North Carolina. So, I say stuff like that. But they would throw you smack dab under the bus. And not just any bus. They would throw you under a bus that's been driven by clowns and is full of flying monkeys. Let that sink in. They would throw you under a bus driven by clowns and full of flying monkeys. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. That is called sabotage. But don't worry about that. This is the important part. Don't worry about that, what they're doing. Because these people, they're so arrogant that they think that their plan for you is the only plan for you. They don't even consider that God has a plan for you. They don't consider that the creator of the universe has a plan just for you, and that plan is the master plan. Okay? So what they don't know, and sometimes what we don't even know, and maybe they think that we don't know, that while they were looking the other way, God was working on you. He was working his plan. The creator was working his plan for you, for your protection, to restore you. That's the master plan. So let me explain it to you like this. The confusion for you and for them is that what looks like the breaking of you to them, what feels like the breaking of you to you, is really God's making you. He's remaking you into a better, more powerful version of yourself. He's remaking you. He's not breaking you, he's remaking you. This requires God to disassemble you, which is painful, and reassemble you into who you're supposed to be. The previous model, it has to be disassembled mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. It's going to be painful that you have to be disassembled that way. But you're going to be reassembled into a higher version of yourself. Okay? The slate will have to be wiped completely clean so you can start all over again. And it's going to hurt. But this is what God has to do to get you to your higher self. Okay? And think about this. One of my friends said to me, when I told them about the horror of what had happened to me, my friend said to me, "Oh, it had to happen that way." And I was upset because I'm like, "Are you serious right now?" And my friend said, "It had to happen that way. Because if it was easy for you, you might confuse it and say, oh, it was a mistake. You might say, oh, this was just another fluke. It had to be destructive. So you know for sure, without a doubt, this is not where I belong. Mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially, this job, this place, this house, this city, whatever it is that's causing you this angst, it's going to be hard for you because it's not where you belong. And it has to be destructive to get you to move on. Think about this. You look at the news and you see the weatherman come and tell the people, y'all leave, the tornado is coming. The tornado could be right in the corner of the street, and these people will say, I'm not leaving my house. I worked too hard for this. That's what we do. So sometimes God has to make it so destructive, you have no choice but to leave. He has to disassemble you mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially so you can move on to grow it to be your better self. But some people, not only would they not leave, if the thing leaves them, they would chase it down and bring it back to get another warm helping of that they served you the first time. So since the creator knows our spirit and knows we're going to think we're trying to do the right thing, we're going to hold on to this thing, hold on to this place, hold on to this person. He has to make it destructive so you can let go, because you are blocking your own growth and your own ability to grow mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. You don't belong there. So after this realization, this is the important part. After this realization, there will come a day, and it happened for me. There will come a day when you will eclipse your pain and your trauma. I'm not saying I'm over my pain and my trauma. I'm not saying that I'm completely healed. I'm saying we're going to eclipse it. We're going to pass it over and see it for what it is, right? It's not the big monster that we think it is. We're going to see it for what it is. And there's going to come a day that you're going to eclipse your pain and your trauma, right? And there's going to come a day, let me tell you, I was in an interview a couple of weeks ago. A lady from a publishing company interviewed me about my book. And she asked me, what made you write this? Because she said, you said you were a poet. And I am. In my heart and my spirit, I'm a poet. And I want to write a novel. And I'm a short story writer. And this is what I wanted to do. But she said, but you wrote this book. You didn't write, a book of fiction. You didn't write a novel, you wrote this book. Why? And I told her about my trauma. I told her about my pain. I told her that I don't want anybody to suffer what I suffered. I told her I want to expose this level of abuse, mental, physical, spiritual, and financial. I want to expose these 9 red flags that you're going to be groomed for psychological abuse. Psychological, spiritual, and financial abuse are the gateways to physical abuse. I wanted to expose this, and I was telling her what happened to me and why I felt compelled to write this book. And I wrote the book while I was in the middle of that tornado. On the Weather Channel, I'm a nerd. I watch the Weather Channel. When they show the reenactment of the tornado and the man is standing inside, I was standing inside the tornado writing the book. And I told her, this is why I wrote the book. This is why it had to be done while I was still in the tornado, because I wanted to help people, And she said, man, looks like they did you a favor now, didn't they? And I said, well, wow, look at that. The person, the people, the places, the things that cause us our trauma to move us forward. Sometimes it is the Creator doing you a favor, because you never know what was on the other side of that. You never know what trauma you would have suffered had you stayed a day longer, a month longer, a year longer, a second longer. What was going to happen? What was around that corner? And that's what she was saying to me. She said, they did you a favor. Not only was I released from the trauma, but I was able to write a book that I always intended to write. Now, I didn't intend to write this kind of book. I was supposed to be writing a book of poetry or a novel. But finally, God gave me something to say, some way to help people, to help you not go through this type of trauma. But I kept you longer than I wanted to. I just want to share that information with you. I hope you have an opportunity to read my book, Hidden in Plain Sight: Are You Being Groomed for Love Bombing, Spirit Breaking, and Abandonment? My book is available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Google Play, and iTunes. If you don't have a chance to read the book, I just want to thank you for even taking the time to listen to me today, because I really believe that whatever trauma and pain that you have gone through, you can overcome it. I believe that your restoration and your resilience, your recovery is possible. It's a real possible, doable, expectation. You should expect it. You can do that. We were built for this. And that's what I said. You throw me under the bus and you don't know I'm built for this. We are all built for this. We just have to pull it out, and we don't even know it's there. You don't even know how strong you are until something comes and a tornado comes up your street and crashes on your house. That's when you're going to find your strength. You will not even know while you're sitting in your house and the sun is shining and everything is great. You're not using your power. You don't even know your strength at that point until that tornado comes up the street and crashes on your house. And now you're going to find out what you're really made of. And that's what I know and want for people who read my book. I want you to know that that tornado is coming. I have the 9 red flags. That tornado is coming. And if you didn't get out the way, I have 8 steps to recovery. But know that, the Creator is always working in your favor. And when they throw you under the bus, kick that door open and start drive that bus away. The bus full of clowns and flying monkeys. Kick that door open and drive that bus away, and let them stand there and look and wonder. Because remember, everyone who celebrates with you is not celebrating for you. And they will stand there with their mouth hanging open and wonder, how are you driving the bus that I threw you under? But anyway, I'm going to go, because I will talk. Peace and blessings, everyone. I hope you enjoy the weekend coming up, and I hope you have an opportunity to read my book. And if not, I just want to thank you for even listening to me right now. Peace and blessings.